Buckle up, guys. We're about to take a deep dive into one of the most baffling mysteries in aviation history, the disappearance of Malaysian Airlines Flight 370. On March 8, 2014, this Boeing 777 took off from Kuala Lumpur, heading towards Beijing, but it vanished into thin air, leaving behind only a cryptic goodnight Malaysian 370 transmission. Now, a decade later, scientists have made a groundbreaking discovery that's finally shed light on the plane's secret resting place. Join us as we unravel the tangled threads of what really happened to MH370 and why the key clues were hiding in plain sight this entire time. Let's get up close and personal with the Boeing 777 that disappeared MH370. This specific plane was actually the 404th of its kind ever made and took to the skies for the very first time on May 14, 2002. After a month-long wait, it touched down at Kuala Lumpur as Malaysia Airlines' newest addition on May 31, 2002. Boasting two powerful Rolls-Royce Trent 892 engines, this aircraft was ready to take off with up to 282 passengers safely on board. MH370 had an uneventful decade of flying until a tiny bump in the road, a wingtip break during a taxiing incident at Shanghai Pudong International Airport back in August 2012. But don't worry, it underwent all necessary checks and even passed a comprehensive A check just weeks before its doomed flight on February 23rd. Everything seemed spotless for this supposed flawless journey to Beijing. So what could have possibly gone wrong? Fasten your seatbelts as we dive into what's supposed to be a routine takeoff for MH370. This flight was set to be around 5 hours and 34 minutes long, guzzling about 82,000 pounds of jet fuel along the way. At 042 Malaysian time, MH370 roared down Kuala Lumpur's runway 32R, getting the green light from air traffic control to shoot up to 18,000 feet or 500 meters high. That's flight level 190 for you aviation buffs. Right off the bat, we see something interesting while the plane is still on the ground. The first officer starts chatting with ATC, but once they hit the sky, Captain takes over, giving clearances and updates to air traffic controllers like a pro. As MH370 leaves the airport's airspace behind, it transitions into Lumpur Radar air traffic controls domain. This center oversees all the action in peninsular Malaysia and nearby waters, with Lumpur Radar being the specific frequency for en route flights. By 046, they give Flight 370 permission to climb up another notch, this time to flight level 350, and everything seems perfectly normal. Let's keep flying along with MH370. At 101 Malaysian time, the crew lets Lumpur Radar know they've reached flight level 350 all. No issues here. But just a couple of minutes later, at 108, they're still cruising at 35,000 feet, all systems go. However, things take a mysterious turn. The last transmission from MH370 isn't even from the pilots. It's an automated message sent through their aircraft communication system at 106. This report shares some super important details, including how much fuel is left, about 96,600 pounds. But here's the thing, this was the very last verbal update with air traffic control. At 1 hour and 19 minutes into the flight, Captain Zahari confirms they're handing over to Ho Chi Minh ACC. But what happens next? Well, there's supposed to be contact with Vietnamese ATC as MH370 enters their airspace, but nothing. Not a peep. It's not until shortly after 1:30 that another pilot tries reaching out to Flight 370 on the international distress frequency, but they're met with radio silence. What's going on here? The attempts to reach MH370 only added to the confusion. When another pilot tries calling out on the international frequency after Vietnam's air traffic control reached out, he hears nothing but background noise and static. Captain Zahari can't make sense of it. More calls are made at 2:39 and 7:13, but they go unanswered, or so it seems. The aircraft itself actually acknowledges these messages through its satellite data unit, which is still transmitting signals even though we're not hearing from the crew anymore. It's like trying to reach a friend who's gone silent. You know they're still getting your messages, but there's no response. This lack of communication sets off alarm bells, and it becomes clear that something serious is going on. With no distress signal sent out and no word from the cockpit, air traffic control in different countries scramble to try and reconnect with MH370. But the silence remains deafening. The search for MH370 was on. As investigators dug deeper, they found a crucial lead: the automated signals sent by the plane's communication system every hour to Inmarsat's satellites. These handshakes showed that the aircraft system was still active and trying to reach out, even if there was no human voice on the other end. By analyzing these signals, experts at Inmarsat made a groundbreaking discovery. They used something called the Doppler effect, which is like a cosmic echolocation tool, to figure out how far away MH370 was from their satellites during those hourly chats. This might seem like a small detail, but it turned out to be a major breakthrough in piecing together what happened to the missing plane. Now we're getting to the nitty-gritty. So, remember how I told you about those hourly handshakes between MH370 and Inmarsat's satellites? Well, experts analyzed these signals using the Doppler effect. It's like a cosmic speedometer that measures how much the signal changes pitch as objects move. By applying this technique, They calculated where the plane might have been at different points in time, creating a map of possible locations. This helped investigators zoom in on a specific area, the southern Indian Ocean, way out west of Australia. It seemed like the aircraft had kept flying for hours after it vanished from radar, eventually running low on fuel and possibly plummeting into the sea. But here's the thing, they still hadn't found any concrete evidence to confirm that MH370 had indeed crashed there. But here's where things took a dramatic turn. If MH370 had crashed into the ocean like investigators suspected, there should have been some sign of debris. And yet, no pieces of the plane turned up. As detectives dug deeper, they began to question whether this was actually an accident or something more sinister. The investigation shifted its focus to Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah's personal flight simulator, which was seized from his home. They wanted to know what kind of routes he'd practiced and if there were any clues hidden within the data. But let's keep it real, the details about what exactly was on that hard drive or what scenarios Zahari might have simulated, that info remains a mystery, still not fully disclosed to the public. Fast forward to 2016 when a confidential police report came to light. It revealed some jaw-dropping details about Captain Zahari's activities on his flight simulator just weeks before MH370 went missing. The documents showed that he had flown a virtual route eerily similar to the one investigators believed MH370 took over the southern Indian Ocean, but this was around a month earlier. To get to this finding, the FBI dug deep into the simulator's hard drive, even recovering some deleted files from Microsoft Flight Simulator X. They found specific flight data like altitude, speed, and direction that seemed to match up with where they thought MH370 might be heading. But here's the thing, these findings weren't a slam-dunk proof of Zahari's involvement. He was still considered innocent until proven guilty, and the search for MH370 continued. The hunt for MH370 kicked off in the South China Sea where it last made contact with air traffic control. But things quickly took a dramatic turn. Investigators pored over satellite data, realizing that something was off. The plane might not have followed its planned route after all. This led to a massive expansion of the search zone, this time into the southern Indian Ocean. A global coalition joined forces. Australia led the charge, with Malaysia, China, and the US among others lending their resources, expertise, and equipment. The search party used cutting-edge tech like satellite imaging, underwater sonar scans, surface searches, and aerial surveillance to track down any sign of MH370. They even investigated hundreds of debris sightings. But after nearly 3 years of tireless searching across a vast area, the governments of Australia, Malaysia, and China sadly announced that they were calling off the search efforts on January 17, 2017. Fast forward to today, even though the governments gave up hope, some private players kept the search alive. But as far as they were concerned, MH370 was lost at sea and all on board presumed dead. Yet, over the years, fragments of the plane have sparked hope, only for it to fade away as nothing was ever confirmed. That's until now, a new lead has emerged in the hunt for Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. Richard Godfrey from the independent MH370 group discovered something groundbreaking using a fresh approach, analyzing weak signals from amateur radio reports that had gone unnoticed before. His findings suggest that MH370 might have crashed around 2,000 kilometers west of Perth, Australia in the southern Indian Ocean, a potential site that's now got investigators buzzing. This new lead zeroes in on an area just 18,000 square kilometers big, a far cry from the massive 120,000 square kilometer search zone they covered back in 2017. Imagine being able to crack a decades-old mystery. That's exactly what Richard Godfrey might have done with his revolutionary approach. By harnessing WSPR signals, he picked up on tiny anomalies that could only be caused by a massive object, possibly MH370 radio. And get this, his findings matched perfectly with satellite data and drift modeling, painting a clear picture of the plane's final journey after it vanished from radar screens. According to Godfrey, MH370 was hiding in plain sight all along, but its signals were being jammed, making it impossible to detect. Now that we've narrowed down the search area to just 18,000 square kilometers, could this be the moment when justice finally finds the families of the 239 people on board? Let's discuss. Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this mind-blowing update, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe for more captivating videos like this one. Don't forget to tune in soon for our next video. It's going to be a wild ride. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you all in the next episode.